Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today, we are from Group 4 from class DBIT 4C. Before that, I would like to introduce our group member, starting from me. So my name is Muhammad Ridwan bin Khairuddin. I'm the first presenter.
My name is FAUZAN bin HUSAINI. I am the second presenter.
My name is IMRAN the IDRIS. I'm the third presenter.
My name is Naufal bin ELLIAS. I'm the last presenter.
Okay, with that, I would like to continue. So today's agenda, we are going to present discharge of contract from commercial law. Now we are going through the definition of discharge of contract. The term discharge of contract refers to the end of the parties' contractual relationship. When a contract becomes inactive, it is said to be discharged. So these are the ways contract may be discharged. There are 4 ways contract may be discharged. First is by discharge by agreement or consent. Second one is discharged by performance. Third one is discharged by frustration. And last but not least is discharged by breach. Okay. Discharged by agreement or consent. Because the parties' agreement is what binds them, the contract may be terminated by their future agreement or consent. Consent can be expressed or implied. The agreement of all contracting parties is required. If the parties to a contract agree to substitute a new contract for it, or to resign or alter it, the original contract does not have to be performed, according to Section 63 Companies Act. Novation, waiver, release, remission, or rescission, these are the example of discharge by agreement consent. Okay. A contract between a creditor, a debtor, and third party whereby they agree to substitute the third party for the debtor or creditor under the original contract that will be discharged is known as novation.
Moving on to discharge by performance. The most common way of terminating a contract, the contract parties complete all their obligation. The performance must be exact and precise. It must adhere to the contract's term. There is a complete discharge when both parties have done exactly what they agreed to do, but only one party will be discharged if he fulfills his part of the bargain. For example, if a person who have been put into a contract for a month, but they decided to finish it earlier than the contract that have been given. So this is what we call as discharge by performance. Okay, moving on. Unless otherwise provided by law, parties to do a contract must either perform or offer to perform their respective promises. According to Section 38, subsection 1, Contract Act.
Okay, moving along with discharge by frustration. A contract is frustrated when the circumstances change, making it legally or physically impossible to perform the contract. An agreement to do an act impossible in and of itself is void, according to Section 57, Subsection 1. These are the impossibility of performance in the following circumstances. First one is destruction of a subject matter of a contract. Second one is supervening illegality. The third one is where a contract depends on the happening of a certain event. And the last one is death or personal incapacity.
So the next one, discharge by breach. A breach of contract occurs when the contract's obligation are broken. It occurs when a contracting party fails to fulfill their contractual obligation without lawful excuse, or make it impossible for them to do so through their own actions. So there are 3 forms of breach. The first one, refuse to perform. The second one, repudiate liability under contract. And the last one, disables himself from performing promise. So, the consequence of a breach, an innocent party may terminate the contract and must repay any benefit received from the other party, Section 65 Companies Act. So, for the last one, breach of contract remedies include four things, which is damage, quantum merit, specific performance, and last but not least, injunction.
What is remedy? A remedy is a right that can be claimed by a party to a contract who has suffered losses as a result of the other party's breach. There are four types of remedies. The first one is damage. Damage, the court's projected monetary compensation for harm or a contract injury suffered by the plaintiff. The second one is quantum merit. A right to sue on a quantum merit arises when contract partly performed by one party has been discharged by breach of contract by the other party. The third one is specific performance. Specific performance, it is the order of the court or the judgment of the court that the contract can be performed precisely and according to its term. And the last one is injunction. A court order prohibiting a person from performing a specific act. It is an equitable remedy granted at the court's discretion.
So the first one is damage. In Hadley v. Gardendale, the court held that damage can only be given for losses that fall into one of these two categories. The first one is arise naturally in accordance with the normal order of event for the breach, and the second one is the effect itself of the contract breach, which the parties may fairly be assumed to have considered when creating it. So this is one of the case, Tom Kyoto v Associated Metal Smelter Ltd. So this case was held because the failure to send a smelter that is capable of burning up to Fahrenheit 2600 is a contract breach. So DFT can anticipate the losses that may result from the breach. So the goal is to compensate victims for their losses, not to make them suffer. Any remote, indirect loss or damage incurred as a result of the breach are not covered by this compensation.
Bergerak boy.
So, damage of unknown value are divided into three categories. The first one is substantial, where if defendant fulfill the contractual obligation, a reward is given to put plaintiff in a position where he should be. Second one is nominal, which refers to a small monetary award to the plaintiff after he established that there has been a breach of contract, despite the fact that no actual contract has occurred. And the last one is exemplary, where the reward is far greater than the losses suffered.
Moving on to quantum merit. Quantum merit only occurs when there is a split of performance. First one is the parties are unable to reach an agreement or payment on payment. A defendant has made it impossible for a plaintiff to complete the remainders of their contractual obligation. The third one is the party agrees on a payment schedule for the part performance but not on a specific amount. Literal meaning as much as earned or as much as merited, it is an amount to be paid in proportion to the work done. Okay.
Okay, now I'm going to present about specific performance. It is a court order or decree that specifies how the contract should be fulfilled according to the definition of the term. Specific performance may be granted by the court in the following circumstances, according to Section 11, Subsection 1 of the Specific Relief of 1950. The contractual obligation is a trust. Actual damage cannot be discovered. A breach cannot be properly fixed by financial compensation. Now moving on to injunction. What is injunction? Injunction is a court order prohibiting a person from performing a specific act. It is an equitable remedy granted at the court's discretion. So there is two types of injunction. First one is going to be temporary. So temporary injunctions are those that last for a set period of time or until the court issues a new order. They can be granted at any point during a lawsuit and are governed by civil procedure law. Second one is perpetual. A perpetual injunction can only be granted by a decree issued at the hearing and based on the merits of the case. For example, the defendant is thus perpetually barred from asserting a right or committing an act that would be contrary to the plaintiff's right.
The next one is rescission. Rescission is an equitable remedy that permits an innocent party to cancel a contract, or if the other party has made a misrepresentation, to use the misrepresentation as a defense if the other party is sued for damage or specific performance. So, for example, the 3-day right of rescission, in which a borrower financing a loan has extra time to evaluate the decision, is a popular example of rescission. When the borrower signs the contract, the time on the rescission process starts. So the next one is restitution. The term quasi-contract is sometimes used to describe restitution. It isn't based on the plaintiff experiencing loss or injury, and it isn't contractual. Its foundation is unjust enrichment. This refers to a situation in which allowing the defendant to keep the money, products, or service without payment would be extremely unfair. For example, consider the case where someone constructs a house on someone else's land. Assume that the construction was not built in accordance with a contract or agreement, and that the owner of the land on which the house is built refused to pay the builder. Under the idea of restitution, a court might force the owner to pay the builder the cost of labor and supplies even though there is no contract.
And then I would like to say thank you on my group behalf for watching our presentation. Thank you everyone for watching our presentation. Terima kasih. Arigato. And bye.
And have a nice day.
Yes,
Bye.
have a nice day too.